Hi students, today we will look into the introduction of Unit 5 which discusses future tense. We generally use future tense only for one purpose. I hear students always saying that, sir, I'll submit my assignment tomorrow. I'll start preparing for examination next week onwards. So they are limited to use only simple future tense. But in fact, future tense offers a gamut of tense structures that will help us to express different kind of ideas that talk about events yet to happen. We can talk about events, we can talk about predictions, we can talk about our future plans, we can talk about actions that are continue to happen sometime long into future. So all this can be expressed using future tense. Let us look into the details of future tense now. Right, we need different kinds of future tenses because we have to talk about different kinds of aspects that are related to events or actions that will take place in future. Whether it is talking about your future plans, whether it is talking about an event that is going to happen sometime in the future, whether you are talking about the duration of an activity that continues into a specific point of time in the future, you need to use appropriate tense structure and express your idea clearly and specifically. So precision of expression depends on how you are choosing to use which aspect of future tense. Let us look into those aspects of future tense which will help us to understand what kind of expression we can use and how that communicates a particular idea about future activity. You can look it over here. Each tense of future will help us to understand one particular aspect of future event. If you're talking about predictions, your plans, you can use future tense. If you're talking about an action that is continuing to happen for some time in the future, you can use future tense. If you're talking about duration of an activity, you can use future tense. If you're talking about deadlines in the future, you can talk about future tense. So for all these things, we can use future tense, but different aspects are there. We should know which future tense will help us to talk about which aspect of future event. Let us look into the details of those future tense aspects in the next slide. So this is the big picture. Future tense has 4 different aspects. Each of them is helping us to communicate one particular idea about a future. Suppose if you're talking about your predictions or spontaneous decisions you take on the spur of the moment, you can use simple future. But if you want to talk about an action that is going to happen or in continuation at some particular point in the future, you can talk about future continuous. You have to use future perfect tense to indicate an action that will be completed by a particular moment in the future. But if you want to talk about the longevity or the duration of an action that extends into a particular point in the future, then you need to use future perfect continuous tense. We can look into these 4 tenses briefly in the next slide. You can see here we have the 4 future tense aspects that have been given with examples. So if you look into the example I'll start preparing today, I'm actually talking about a decision that I made at the point of speaking. So this was not premeditated decision, it was made on the spot. So if you're talking about a decision that is made on the spot without any prior plan, the best tense you can use is simple future. But what about if you want to talk about an action that you will be participating or continue to doing it by some time in future? Yes, then you have to use future continuous tense. You can look at this example. At 10 a.m. tomorrow, I'll be writing the exam. Here I am indicating that at a particular point of time, that is 10 a.m. tomorrow, I am in the middle of doing something, that is writing an exam. So you're talking about an activity that is in progress at particular time in the future. But if I have to talk about deadlines, if I have to talk about an action that is going to be completed by a certain time in the future, I have to depend on future perfect tense. So here you can see that in the example, by Friday, we will have completed Unit 5. It clearly denotes that Friday is the deadline for us to finish the Unit 5. That means by Friday, we will be successfully completing our Unit 5. So I'm talking about completion of activity at a particular time in the future by using future perfect tense. But if I have to talk about an activity that is long running and extending into future, then I have to use future perfect continuous tense. As the example says over here, by December, I'll have been teaching for 5 years. So you can see that by the time of December, I have been doing my teaching for the last 5 years. So it is talking about a particular point of time in future that is denoted by December, that I will be continue to be in teaching. So this can be expressed with future perfect continuous tense. Like this, each idea of future tense can be used for a particular perspective or for a particular purpose. So as students, we should learn clearly about which idea need to be communicated with which tense. So in this unit, you will be not only learning about rules of future tense, you will be equipping yourself to handle all your daily communication that is related to future activities effectively by learning about the structure of each future tense and how the structure is formed and the rules that are pertinent to it. Of course, we'll be also discussing limited time expressions that can be used when we are talking about future events. And we also focus on how to avoid typical mistakes that generally committed by students when they use future tenses. And of course, we also focus on exam practice, where we'll be working on a rigorous practice session to use future tense without errors. So students, be ready. By the end of this unit, we'll be able to handle confidently and clearly how to use future tense. Happy learning.